Hello everyone, welcome to the course of TY-BSc in Microbiology for the subject Enzymology, that is paper 3. We have already started with the chapter 3, that is Principles and Methods of Enzyme Purification. In our previous videos, we have already talked about separation of proteins on varying properties such as molecular size. We can also use solubility and affinity of a protein towards a specific substrate for separation. But in this video, we'll be mainly talking about separation on the basis of charge. So charge mainly depends on the acid-base properties of a protein. This is in turn determined by the ionizable functional group in a polypeptide chain or the R group. Different proteins have different amino acid sequences or composition, and due to this they have distinct acidic or basic properties. Moreover, it should be remembered that charge on proteins is a function of pH of the surrounding medium. Hence, it is essential to take into account pH of the solution while using this method. So, after watching this video, the student should understand purification of enzymes using ionic charge. For this, we use techniques such as ion exchange chromatography as well as gel electrophoresis. So, the student should be able to answer questions on this concept. So when we talk about purification using ionic charge, we are mainly going to be discussing 4 techniques. First being ion exchange chromatography. The second technique which we are going to discuss is gel electrophoresis. We'll be also discussing about PAGE, that is polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, and isoelectric focusing. All the 4 techniques are based on differences in ionic charge. So let us move on to ion exchange chromatography. So the basic principle involved in ion exchange chromatography is that the electrostatic binding between enzyme molecule and the stationary phase will occur, where the basis of separation is net charge on the enzyme molecule and the charge on the ion exchanger resin, that is the stationary phase. So as I said, there will be 2 phases involved, a stationary phase and a mobile phase. The stationary phase mainly includes ion exchangers. These ion exchangers can be either cationic exchangers or anionic exchangers. The second phase involved in ion exchange chromatography is the mobile phase. The mobile phase is mainly constituting of buffers of variable concentrations. The principle of ion exchange chromatography. Ion exchange chromatography relies on the attraction between oppositely charged ion exchangers and the analyte, that is the protein sample. For example, if a protein has a net negative charge at pH 7, then it will bind to a column which has positively charged beads, whereas a protein which is positively charged would not bind to the positively charged ion column. Now let us see the most commonly used material for ion exchange chromatography. They are mainly synthetically prepared and are derivatives of cellulose. So as I mentioned earlier, there are basically 2 types of exchangers, a cation exchanger and an anion exchanger. The most commonly used cation exchanger is the carboxymethyl group, whereas the most commonly used anion exchanger is the DEAE group or the diethyl aminoethyl group. This diethyl aminoethyl group is also known as DEAE cellulose as it has a positively charged group at pH 7 and it is an anion exchanger. Other examples include quaternary aminoethyl, quaternary ammonium exchangers. Methyl sulfonates and sulfopropyls are examples of negatively charged cation exchangers. So as you can see in this diagram, mixture of proteins can be resolved and proteins can be separated into two individual components by successive elution of bound molecules from the DEAE column by passing a series of buffer of decreasing pH, or the solutions can also have varying salt concentrations or ionic strengths. This basically decreases the binding of anionic proteins. A continuous variation in contents of elution solution during chromatography is called as gradient elution. The elutes are collected into small fractions and their quantities are estimated. So during elution, the proteins with low affinity for the column will move through the column at a faster rate as compared to the proteins which have high affinity. So if the column has affinity, which simply means that if there is an attraction, that is the positively charged resin will attract negatively charged proteins, then they will be released or eluted at a lower rate. So by using fraction collector, the selective proteins can be separated. So ion exchange resins contain charged groups. If these groups are acidic in nature, they interact with positively charged proteins and hence are called as cation exchangers. So as you can see here, the CMC, that is carboxymethyl cellulose, is a cation exchanger. And on the contrary, if the groups are basic in nature, they interact with negatively charged molecules and are called as anion exchangers. As in this case, you can see the DEAE cellulose is a anionic exchanger, that is, it will attract negatively charged or acidic enzymes to the resin. So there are mainly 4 steps in ion exchange chromatography. The first step is equilibration. Equilibration mainly includes stabilization of the ion exchanger with oppositely charged ions in buffers such as NaCl. The second is sample application and washing. The proteins bound to the ion exchanger remain attached to the resin, whereas the others are removed during washing. The third stage is elution, that is, removal of bound protein from ion exchanger with the help of increased concentration of elution buffer. The last stage is regeneration, that is, preparing the ion exchanger for next round of protein purification. So, if the protein has a net positive charge at pH 7, it will usually bind to a column of beads containing carboxylate groups, that is, cation exchanger. So as you can see in the diagram, this is a CMC exchanger. It will attract the positively charged enzymes, that is, it will allow the binding of the positively charged enzymes to the column, whereas the negatively charged proteins will be eluted at a faster rate. So to elute the protein of our interest, we have to add buffers of high salt concentration. The sodium in the buffer will interact with the cation of the resin, whereas the chloride of the buffer will interact with the positively charged protein to elute it of the column. So as you can see in this diagram, increasing the concentration of NaCl leads to the binding of sodium to the resin molecule, whereas the chloride stabilizes the protein and hence is eluted. So proteins will bind to an ion exchanger with different affinities. As the column is washed with buffer, proteins which have relatively low affinities for that particular ion exchange resin will move faster through the column, and the proteins that bind tightly to the column will be retained in the ion exchanger. The greater the binding affinity of the protein for the ion exchanger column, the more it will be slowed in the eluting of the column. So proteins can be eluted by changing the elution buffer to that containing a higher salt concentration or one having a different pH. So this is the diagram showing ion exchange chromatography using stepwise elution. Here the tan colored region of the column represents the ion exchangers, whereas the colored bands such as the purple, blue, pink color indicate the various proteins which are mixed together. As you can see in the A diagram, the protein mixture is bound to the topmost portion of the ion exchanger in the chromatography column, as well as the buffer is containing less number of salt molecules present, making it a low elution buffer. In the B stage, as the elution progresses, various proteins separate into distinct bands as a consequence of different affinities for the ion exchanger under the prevailing conditions. Here, the first band of proteins, that is red band, has already passed through the column and is being isolated as a separate fraction, whereas others which are less mobile proteins will be retained at the top of the column. The salt concentration in the elution buffer is slowly increased. Due to this, there is increased mobility of the remaining proteins, and thus, as you can see in the C part, the remaining bands are also eluted. The graphs basically show the elution diagram of the protein mixture from the column. So this is a table in which we have summarized the different types of ion exchangers used. There are a number of ion exchangers such as DEAE cellulose, carboxymethyl cellulose, phosphate cellulose. We also use Biorex 70, which is commercially available and is made up of carboxylic acid. You have DEAE Cefadex, SP Cefarose, CM Biogel A. All are used to separate mainly proteins and enzymes from a complex mixture. Now let us move on to the next technique, that is gel electrophoresis. So electrophoresis can be defined as the movement of a charged particle through an electrolyte when subjected to an electric field. That is a procedure in which electric field is used for separation of ions through solid or a semi-solid matrix or a surface, which causes the separation of the constituents on the basis of charged density. Thus, it is the movement of the molecules in the electric field. Proteins are known to have characteristic charge and they can move in electric field as well. So when a mixture of protein is placed in a separating matrix, the molecules migrate in the electric field depending upon their charge to mass ratio and thus get separated. This movement of molecules under electric current is mainly due to the presence of two electrodes, cathode and the anode. So as a general principle, the cations mainly migrate towards the cathode whereas the anions move towards the anode. Gel electrophoresis is commonly used in biological analysis, particularly of separation of proteins, peptides, and nucleic acids. So, polyacrylamide is used as supporting media for separation of proteins. The principle of gel electrophoresis: any charged ion or molecule migrate when placed in electric field. The rate of migration depends upon its net charge, size, shape, and the electric current applied. Due to this, there is mainly regulation of power supply as it so as to provide a constant electric current. So we can say higher the potential applied, faster is the mobility. The gel strengths are also known to influence the movement of proteins. That is, higher the gel strength, less the porosity. Due to this, large size proteins will migrate at a slow rate compared to the smaller sized proteins. So the velocity at which proteins will migrate can be represented by the formula V is equal to Ez by F, where V stands for the velocity of migration of the molecule, E stands for the electric field strength in volts per centimeter, Z is the net electric charge on the molecules, and F represents the frictional coefficient. So gel electrophoresis is one of the most popular and commonly used form of electrophoresis for separation and characterization of proteins, but it is not generally used for protein purification when large quantities of proteins need to be purified. Simpler alternatives are usually available. One more reason is that the electrophoretic methods adversely affect the structure of the protein. As the structure is affected, the function of the protein is also altered. So, electrophoresis is mainly used as an analytical method. The advantage of using gel electrophoresis is that the protein can be visualized and at the same time be separated, thus allowing the researchers to estimate quickly the number of different proteins in a mixture and also the degree of purity required for a particular protein preparation. This technique also helps in determination of other crucial properties of protein such as the isoelectric point, and we can also approximate the molecular weight of the enzyme. So, electrophoresis of a protein is generally carried out in gels which are made up of cross-linked polymer polyacrylamide. This polyacrylamide gel acts as a molecular sieve, slowing the migration of proteins with respect to or directly proportional to the charge to mass ratio. This migration is mainly affected by the protein shape as well. A number of factors affect the migration of charged particles, the first being the strength of electric field, the second being the relative hydrophobicity of the sample, molecular size of the protein, as well as the net charge to density of the taken biomolecule, as in our case the protein. The last being, as I mentioned earlier, shape of the protein. So now let us move on to the apparatus as well as the procedure for gel electrophoresis. So the electrophoresis unit mainly has a plastic buffer tank in which we keep the gel slab as well as the buffer. Next requirement is buffers. A large number of buffers are required for carrying out electrophoresis, we use a number of buffers for carrying out electrophoresis. So when the apparatus is assembled, the lower electrophoresis tank buffer mainly surrounds the gel, mainly responsible for conducting current. We require two electrodes, that is an anode and a cathode. These electrodes are usually attached to a power pack or power supply. For a standard agarose gel electrophoresis, a voltage of 5 volts per centimeter of gel is applied. We also use different support medias. Supporting media is usually agarose in case of DNA separation, or we can also use polyacrylamide gels for separation of proteins. The diameter of the channels formed in the gel determine the final porosity of the gel and thus act as a molecular sieve. So by using gel with different concentration of agarose or polyacrylamide, one can resolve different sizes of fragments. We also use tracking dyes. Tracking dyes are agents which aim at visualizing the separated protein molecules after the process of electrophoresis. Mainly, Kumasi blue is used for tracking proteins. The dyes are usually added to the gel during the preparation only. The gel is mainly visualized with the help of a transilluminator. So this is the diagram of the electrophoretic apparatus. As you can see, the plastic buffer tank containing the buffer as well as the gel. There are two electrodes, a cathode and an anode, which are connected by an external power supply. The gel is a supporting matrix which will help in separation of the macromolecules, in our case proteins. These separated proteins are then visualized with the help of a tracking dye. So based on the gel casting technique, electrophoresis can be divided into two types. Horizontal gel electrophoresis is mainly used for immune electrophoresis as well as isoelectric focusing, and mainly used in separation of DNA and RNA in agarose gel. On the other hand, vertical electrophoresis is mainly used for separation of proteins. So different samples are loaded in the wells or depressions at the top of the polyacrylamide gel. These proteins move into the gel when the electric field is applied. The gel minimizes the convection currents caused by small temperature gradients as well as the protein movements of other than those induced by the electric field. So the proteins can be visualized after electrophoresis by treating the gel with a stain that is Kumasi blue, which binds to the protein but does not bind to the gel. So this is a figure from Principles of Biochemistry. So in this you can see a number of bands, and each band on gel represents a protein. So small proteins move very fast through the gel and the larger ones are quite slow. Therefore, the smaller proteins are found towards the bottom of the gel. So this gel is mainly an illustration of purification of enzymes of E. coli, and we are mainly trying to isolate the RNA polymerase. So the first lane shows a large number of proteins which is present in the cell lysate or the crude extract, whereas as you move from left to right, the successive lanes show that the proteins present after each purification step. So as you can see in the last lane, the purified protein contains only 4 subunits. So with this we complete two techniques, that is ion exchange chromatography and gel electrophoresis. In our next video, we'll continue with the procedure of polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis and isoelectric focusing. These are the references. Thank you so much.